Manchester's real glory was a continuum of first-class rock and roll.
Surprise. That's Scotty, I'm Motty. This is Scotty and Motty, and also off camera with a microphone, if we can trust him with it, is Mr. James Young. Say hello, James.
All right.
That's enough. All right, don't get carried away. How are you doing, brother?
Better now, man. Sorry about last week and
Don't
that, but yeah,
apologise.
been a bit of a rough week and stuff. But yeah, good, man. It's
Good.
good
Glad to see you. You're looking well. Apologies we didn't have a podcast last week. We did do a Patreon article, and thanks to Glenn for reading that, and no one else.
Why is it 6,000 subscribers?
Yeah, well, it was only on the Patreon, so it was only the patrons that read it.
You make yourself feel better.
Yeah, I'll try. What I like is he read it and then commented on it as though you'd written it. He was like, thanks for that, really enjoyed that. Say hello to Jay for me. I was like, hang on a minute, it's me that wrote it. We'll have more content coming up this week for patrons as well, and obviously we're back today with our main podcast. We're going to talk about reffing, right, okay, Scotty, because I spoke about this on Stretford Paddock earlier, but it's a hot topic. It just seems to me, right, and you can correct me because you always do, and no doubt James will join in as well. I don't feel like United have been treated fairly by referees this season. And I feel like somehow the narrative has been twisted that United are getting all the decisions.
Yeah.
I think it's like the opposite of what is true. Because I'll explain what I mean, and obviously you can give us your thoughts. So we saw all the furore over Mitrovic's red card. Red card, Stonewall, shouldn't be any drama. Shouldn't be anything to point the finger at Manchester United for. Yet there was, because people go, well, Bruno didn't get sent off at Anfield. So you get all that stuff. Then there's other incidents as well, where you've seen Ericsson got a nasty injury from Andy Carroll. I don't think he got booked for that, the picture that's on there. He got booked for 2 other incidences, but he didn't get done for that. There was also the foul in that game that he did on Casemiro. There was the Casemiro red card where he gripped hold of Emmanuel Hughes. But during the same game, I think you can see it there, Fred got grabbed, and it wasn't a red. So that wasn't fair. Then there's the other Casemiro red card where you go, okay, that's probably a red card. I can see why it's given. But then a day before at Chelsea, I think it was Felix, did an identical foul, doesn't get looked at by VAR. I don't feel we are getting the rub of the green.
No, not at all. There's a massive inconsistency within there, and it's like where if you're going to have the VAR on certain decisions, you've got to have VAR on all the decisions. But I don't think we're getting the rub of the green by any means. It feels like every time there's a so-called injustice or anything that can be used, like the Fulham player that got sent off, automatically it's like, well, United players didn't get it, and it's just this sort of weird sort of, oh well, but what about them? Every single sort of decision that happens up and down the country, well, Fernandes, that's the sort of arguing point about it, and it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it is, and I think there's that whole thing, we mentioned this earlier, where, and we know it, we work in media, and you know it, it's like, it's not even a sort of a secret, everyone sort of overtly talks about it, that if you want to get more views, clicks, whatever, United are the way to do it. Like, if you do an article that says, City are in for a player, or then you do the same article, but put United instead of City, you're going to get more clicks. Yeah. It's even the Scousers, Liverpool are, probably the second most popular team in England, if not Britain. And yet, they don't have the same traction that United do. And it's mad because you will see certain journalists or headline writers shoehorn United into a headline.
It's embarrassing for them though as well, because these are people who have actually gone to university, spent a lot of money, spent a lot of time to become journalists. So thought somewhere down the line, like, well, are you going to start, going against your morals for clickbait? I just feel really sorry for them, because it must be really hard to sleep at night when that's your ambition. It's
a good question. It's like a broader question. Do you feel like because you've done copywriting, I know that's not the same as.
My copywriting days was about erections and lack of erections.
Oh, right.
So I used to have to write copy for an alternative to Viagra.
Where were you back in the day? Hey.
Back in the day, was it all fixed now?
No, I'm the other way around, mate. I used to have this problem when I was absolutely out in my nuts. But if you had that scenario where you've written something and now you've got an editor, do you think you could just go, I'm not putting, going down that clickbait route, or would you just be like, all right, fair enough?
I suppose it becomes a sort of, do you want to keep your job?
Yeah. Because I do feel sorry for some journalists. I remember once I had a chat with a journalist who remained nameless, but he emailed me after something I'd put on Twitter. And he said, he sort of was defending himself a little bit and explaining his situation. He said, we're under pressure. We've got to put, so many articles out a day, and we've got to get so many. Now, this was just in the era where actual clicks was starting to be counted online.
Yeah.
And he was like, look, we've got to get so many clicks, and sometimes you have to be over sensational and over opinionated and over controversial. And I always think United get the brunt of that. Using a negative way.
Yeah. It's an easy hit, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you can write like an article that's going to have some form of controversy, and you can put Manchester United into the same article, it's a free hit. It's a home run pretty much, isn't it?
Yeah,
you're going to get people clicking on it. But I understand what you mean in terms of like they've got to play the game really, and that becomes problematic, because then you sort of inadvertently create this sort of rhetoric amongst fans who aren't writing it, but they buy into this. They buy into it.
This is the thing, because I always feel quite lucky, me, in my journalism career, because I worked in radio for a local radio, so there was no clickbait, and there was no upsetting everyone, because you're local and you've got a sort of, your patch, and you're not going to start sticking a microphone in grieving widows' faces because you've got a reputation to hold. So I was quite fortunate I worked for an organisation that had a bit of, had scruples.
Yeah.
I'm not just saying that, they did. You know what I mean? It's like when I worked at Q103, it opened doors for me. I've knocked on doors literally and gone, I'm from Q103, they've gone, Q103, all right, come in. Do you know what I mean? And I remember interviewing Vinnie Cook, and he'd not given an interview to anyone. And that was because his missus, when he saw us from Q103, was like, come in. But yeah, I've been looking in that sense, and then we started doing this where, we can say what we want. But I do understand it. I do understand the idea that, you might be in a situation where it's like, all right, I've got to play the game, and I've got bills to pay.
And that must be hard, though.
Yeah, it is hard. It must be hard. And there is a bit of me that thinks, well, you should just go, no, I'm not going to do that. But then, it's not the end of the world if you're going, Manchester United are interested in Paulinho, and your source is a tweet.
Yeah.
Which you find out if you go down the 8th page of the article. It's like, all right, it's not great, and it can be a bit annoying, but you're not doing anything. It's not like you're hacking phones. And I know that shouldn't be the benchmark, or you're not hacking phones, you're doing all right. But do you know what I mean? It's like, it is kind of the way the game is played. And everyone's a little bit guilty of it. Listen, Paddock, we've done it. Do you know what I mean? But the advantage I've got in Paddock is I can literally do an article, or not an article, a video, and say it's rubbish. Say it's nonsense, this. Do you know what I mean? Like, because I'm reviewing the papers, so I can go, well, this article in the Express saying that United are going to buy Messi is a load of rubbish. Whereas, can't always get that. Mr. Young, you're always one who likes a sort of, bit of sanctimonious nonsense. I'm only joking. What do you make of the clickbait element of journalism? Because you're involved in journalism. Yeah. You write articles. You edit articles. Do you have a stance?
Yeah, I mean, that's how it is, really, isn't it? I mean, the depressing thing is for a lot of people that are going to leave journalism degrees, the only jobs they're going to be able to get are going to be at reach-own titles, so there's not really a choice for a lot of people. So, I wouldn't personally like to work for one of those sort of titles, but then at the same time, if that's the only job I get, of course I'm going to take it. But then there are other alternatives now. I mean, The Athletic isn't perfect by any means, but I think there is a model now where people are realising that, you don't have to be clickbait to be a journalist. And even in Manchester now, have you heard of that, the Manchester Mill?
The Manchester Mill, yeah. I'm doing something from them, but...
Really?
Yeah.
So I don't know a lot about them, but I take it that you're a fan, obviously.
That's the thing, that there is a want for that. Like, I think people obviously it's evident here, there's 3 of us, and we're talking that there's a tiredness of this sort of clickbait narrative and sort of this phenomenon that we've had. And I know you've done it, as you spoke about on Stretford Paddock, where we're doing like Fancams outside, and it's had its day.
That's a really good point.
And I think now people are just becoming a little bit more wise, because it becomes tiresome. Do you know what I mean? And very quickly parody. And I think that's why YouTubers were getting quite a lot of stick, because of that nature where we wanted all this sort of controversy. And once you've been seen something enough times, it's like, oh, come on. We're not that. Stop trying to dumb your audience down. But from a journalist point of view, I always find it interesting is that why would you stay at an organisation if it's making your... it's paying your wage, but there are other opportunities out there to work at other organisations if you're a journalist. And is it still journalism, or is it not more of a sort of, what do you call them, opinion piece? Do you know, like, is it really, are you reporting, or is a twisted narrative and fiction a lot of the times?
Yeah, no, you make a good point. And I think, you know, you've seen it with people, like you say about the shifting appetites. We've seen it on the fan channel with Fancams. It got untenable, really, because the whole point of Fancams is you let fans have their opinion. And we were having to edit them so much. Yeah. Because people were saying just outrageous, offensive.
But that in itself is an extension of what we're talking about.
You're right.
In the press. Yeah. It's exactly the same, just a different medium.
And it was like, we can't just have people coming on camera threatening, even though, you know, sometimes you might agree with what they're saying, but, you know, threatening violence against people, or threatening to do harm to themselves, or just outrageous screaming at a camera after we've drawn, you know, 1-1 with Chelsea or whatever. And you're like, this isn't what we wanted to do. And then when you start censoring people, you think there's no point doing it anymore to that degree anyway. And I think, yeah, you're right, it's a sort of continuation of that. And I think there is a little bit of a shift. You saw with The Athletic, you've both mentioned. I know we take the mix sometimes, you know, The Athletic will do a, you know, 2,000 word piece on the hot dog vendor from the 1999 Champions League final. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, we tracked him down to where he lives in, you know, Newport, and got an interview with him. But they do a lot of articles that are long, and they're a great read, and they go in detail, and you'll find yourself going down that rabbit hole and reading it all. And I think, was it Players Tribune who did them in-depth interviews?
They were great. The one I retweeted them in Cantona the other week. Have you seen the Cantona one?
No, I've not. I'll have to check that out, because they do that where they'll chat to players about the childhood getting into football, you know, the first pair of football boots, what made them footballers.
That for me is always, I mean, and imagine you're the same with what being a journalist is about. It's searching for that niche, that story that hasn't been told. That's different. I always think the people who are bending stories for advertisers, they're just glorified salesmen.
Yeah. Well, I think now the line between advertisements and articles is very blurred.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I know there's certain newspapers, you know, in Manchester, that do articles that are adverts, but they're written as news pieces.
Yeah, advertorials.
Advertorials, and it's like in the small print almost, so they'll have a little hashtag ad. And you might not even notice, and you think, what the hell is this article about someone's kitchen?
It's like, even if you're lucky enough to get an interview with like a current Premier League footballer, chances are, and you've had this with Paddock, it'll normally be at like an event like Call of Duty or Adidas, so it'll be through a client, and you'll have 10 minutes, and then at the end you've got to go, oh, and such is here on behalf of a new football boot or a video game or whatever, and you never really get enough time, because it's very rare that you get that access now.
Yeah, well, we've had that. We've done interviews based on someone plugging a football boot or a new computer game, or, you know, anything they're here with a soft drinks company or whatever, and you want that little bit of access, and you want to get that, you know, that one question that everyone wants to hear, but you have to go through the pushing the stuff that they're what a flog, and it's how the game is played. I'll get in some comments. I'll come back to you. Loads of people in the chat and the comments. Hit that like button as well. Over 200 people watching, which is great to see. Do hit that like. Someone's saying, afternoon, lads, Jacoya Trot. Afternoon, it's 7:15 p.m, I presume in a different country. Brian Casey, good to see you. King Dino, Tanvir, Manchester, 1982. Mike Newman says, hi, guys. Is there a way to get away game tickets without a membership? Want to go to my first United game? I don't think there is there? Away game tickets?
Not legally, anyway. I mean, through United, legally.
I mean, I've done aways this season. I've done one away in Barcelona and Wembley, if that counts. But
unless you know someone who can sort you.
Yeah, I was in the home end, and I was well behaved.
Of course.
Unlike some of my, you know, fellow United fans who end up getting served out because he went mad. Ian Hamilton says, "Come on, Jay, get political!" in exclamation marks. The SNP are in utter turmoil up here in Scotland. I think that flag is. Come on, give the old dice a political take of the week. I did get political on the end of the stretch for Paddock video. We just did the Paddock podcast. If you'll go and check that out. I had some thoughts that I shared on the Suella Braverman pick that's doing the rounds. You can go and check that out. And also, we'll be doing some more vids later on this week as well. We'll be getting into that. Mike Newman also says, I'll just get a membership. Yeah, that might be the best idea. When you see it now, Scotty, when you see all the sort of the kick-off and everything about the refs, especially from the usual pundits, does it amuse you? Do you just go, because you were talking there about, like, almost know with certain articles what you get and you go...
I just turn off. Seriously, there's certain words like I like Ollie Holt or mute, or like anything talk sport. I just completely mute all that. So just it's laughable, isn't it?
Yeah.
And like I said, I have for the people who have actually gone to university and tried to educate themselves to the level of getting a degree to do that as a profession. I just think it must be really sad that you go in every single day and you've got to churn out copy or any sort of report, and you've got to skew it to suit your advertisers.
Yeah.
It's just sad.
That must be difficult, that. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I know it's not the same, but it reminds me of when we had a chat with someone from United. There was a bit of a regime change behind the scenes at United in terms of the press and all that stuff. And I met with someone there who was quite high up about access and stuff, and they were saying, we can give you a bit more access, hence the reason we got in the press conferences and pre-season and stuff like that. We've been to a few this season as well. And, the first thing I said is, like, that's great, but one thing I've got to tell you straight is we're not going to start being pro Glazers or
of course.
Say, if someone has a stinker, we're not going to go, well, he tried his best, it weren't a bad game. We'll say, we're not personal with our criticism, we think you'll know that, you come on the channel more than anyone. But, we will criticise, someone that says a bad game, we'll say they have a bad game, we'll say we hate the Glazers and we're gone. Yeah. We're not just going to start being towing the party line. He was like, he got that and he was alright with it. But there must be parts of it where you think, do I have to do this? Do I have to? Is it worth trying to find another job, or is it worth trying to butt heads with my editor who's going, you're doing this because we've got to pay the bills?
But then you've got to think about the amount of actual qualified journalists that they have now in the media, in the press, because a lot of them are ex-footballers, and I'm not going to name any names, Gabby Agbonlahor. They don't come across as the brightest crayon in the box, do they? Do you know what I mean? And they're getting more and more of the pedestal because they're happy to say the most outlandish things. And it's like, he who speaks, like my dad in the pub, he who speaks loudest is correct. Yeah. And it never is my dad, but he's the loudest. Do you know what I mean?
No,
and everyone believes him because you're talking about that amount of nonsense.
There's you can tell it's nonsense because it's so contradictory all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, you say one thing one week and you say the next thing the next week, and it's just the two are complete opposites of what you've said. But usually, one relates to Manchester United and the other one doesn't, so you've got to have that thing. And I think they've all latched on to the idea that a lot of people have latched on. Richard Keys has started doing it. I know it's like this whole anti-United persona he's got. Yeah. I remember Richard Keys on Sky Sports, and we spoke about him before. I never had an issue with him. I wasn't a massive fan. I didn't particularly, dislike him or like him when he was at Sky. Obviously, I didn't like the way he went about things. Eventually, when he got sacked, I understood it and agreed with it. But he's like this complete anti-United person who's just constantly having a dig, and you think, why? Where's this coming from?
Yeah.
It's like Gabby Agbonlahor. You mentioned him, like, why do you care so much? Why do you hate United? Like, do you know what I mean? Is it we ruined your childhood? Is that whole argument? Or in his case, he had to sort of watch United winning everything, but then why does that bother him? He's not like we're rivals.
But then I think because they see the success rate of their tweets and going viral because they have these,
great point.
Because they have the sort of these outlandish views, that it just feeds the ego. So because they've been so successful fishing, and then it just goes like, oh, what else can I say this week? And it becomes perpetual then, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, what else can I say this? And then you just don't get Gabby Agbonlahor doing it. You have Richard Keys doing a similar sort of thing. So then you've got all these dickheads around the same pond trying to fish for United and just all dipping in saying, all right, well, Casemiro's shite. Do you know what I mean? And stuff like that.
It's good as well because you make a point because, if you come out and you go, Casemiro's quality, United have got an absolute worldie there.
Yeah.
No one really cares. No one really goes when he starts dropping 10 out of 10s. Well done, you, Mr. Keys. You smashed that.
Yeah.
Because it's a bit of a tapping anyway. But if you go, Casemiro's no good, he's rubbish, and then he gets sent off, and you can go back to that and go, then you'll get the whole anti-United lot. Oh yeah, you're right. Or even if he plays well, agreeing with you anyway, because he hate United.
But you don't get the same negativity. This is the. And I mean, it ties into with the reference about the consistency. You don't get the criticism across all the clubs. And that's because of the size of Manchester United. Because if you look at how bad Liverpool Football Club have been this season, I know obviously they spanked us and hands up at 7-0. Why has Klopp or that team not faced any of the criticism anywhere like Ten Hag, who's just reached his second semi-final, already won a cup, quarterfinals of the Europa League, and yet that Manchester United team seems to be one that comes for more criticism, which is outperforming the Liverpool team. It's just what make it make sense.
No, you're right. We've had sort of, Neville and Gallagher did a sit-down interview with him, didn't he, after about 2 weeks when he lost both his games. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like they were doing his obituary.
Yeah.
Like, what's all that about? And then you look at Klopp, who's been here for 7.5 years or whatever it is, and he's having a bit of a stinker. And you're right, we got battered by him, I'm not denying that. But then it doesn't seem to be the same. And also, it always amazes me that, because I always think, despite the fact I hate him, Liverpool are on a similar level to United.
Yeah.
I think United are bigger, but Liverpool are a big club. You know, you can look at Chelsea's and Cities and you go, they're not quite at the global.
No, they're definitely like a rung below on the ladder.
But Liverpool are up there with us. Do you know what I mean? They do. You see it when you go abroad or whatever. And you
but
see
I've never seen any anti. I mean, I'll obviously take away the stuff around Hillsborough and stuff, but Premier League years, I've never seen any sort of anti-Liverpool rhetoric. Not to the level of Manchester United. I can't think of much criticism.
Do you feel that? I don't know why. I always feel like with Liverpool. And the good at this, and it is a good trait actually, I give them credit for it. They're very good at circling the wagons and backing each other. So you get a lot there of ex-players who'll back their team and their manager and will stick up for each other. You'll get a lot of fans who'll rally round.
Yeah.
With United, it seems to be more divisive at times. You're more likely to get, and when I say ex-players, you'll get someone like, I don't know, Paul Parker speaking to a betting company and he'll just slag off United for a paycheck. And I'm not digging him out because he's not the only one. But then you'll see like these press releases or whatever, or this out. You think United urged to sack Ten Hag by former legend, and you think, hey, I've watched United all my life. I don't remember it. Do you know what I mean? It'll be someone like you forgot played for us.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like even ex-United players or United affiliates will do that.
Yeah.
Whereas Liverpool tend, not exclusively, there'll be ones that do break that.
Well, they're very much the exception.
They're the outlier, yeah.
I mean, and if anything that I could allow myself to be admirable about that football club, it is that they're a lot tight knit in terms of their players.
And maybe it's come from obviously the tragedy went through Hillsborough. Maybe they've learned we stick together, and that does serve us best. But there does seem to be something there where they will always do it. You saw it with the Luis Suarez thing. That was the worst side of it, because there you've got and I did read the report. People said to me when I was commenting, have you read the report? Yes, I did. I read it cover to cover. He's as guilty as the day is long. And you had certain Scouse journalists who went, come on, you're pinching someone's skin and calling them, saying that they're black when you're having a row with him.
Yeah.
You're not mates. Like, it's obvious. But there were so many people who were willing to back Suarez.
Based on that.
Yeah, you put T-shirts on for him.
It's like, what's the line out of The Wire? If it's a lie, then we fight on that lie or something.
Yeah, it's so true, isn't it? In fact, let me get some chats and we'll go back to Youngie there. Sam from The Architect says, this is why I really enjoy The Athletic. Seems way less clickbait. Sam is our hero and saviour, by the way. He's the one that got Steve's ticket. He got Steve into the cup final literally 5 minutes before the game.
I had something to do with that.
You? Oh, yeah, because he rang you, didn't he?
I gave him his number.
Yeah, because he was messaging me as well. And as he was messaging me, he went, because he was messaging me about a ticket, I might be able to get Steve in. And I was like, right, yeah, because I was going back and forth with so many different people. And then as I walked up to him, I saw Steve and he was on the phone with him because, you'd give him.
Yeah, so I hope that United are at Wembley now, and if anyone could sort me a ticket out for the semis,
well, there you go, get involved. Someone else said it as well. Sorry, I can't see it. It is Raf22 says, the Athletic articles from Laurie Whitwell at the end of the season was so insightful. They were, and I'll be talking to him tomorrow on Stretford Paddock, funnily enough. So yeah, I do
it's
like.
Not often you plug Paddock on this show.
This is bigger now. This is, I think we're overtaking.
I think so. I think when you were talking before about the sort of clickbaity channels that you worked for as well.
Yeah, Paddock.
This is more. Yeah. This is niche. This is
like The Athletic. Paddock's like The Express, but without the racism.
I was going to go worse than that.
What were you going to go?
The current bun, but we're not.
Whoa! Get out. Can I shut you off something we both know? Probably not. Disgusting. What's this? Oh, Raf22 says, Jay and Scotty, I'd love your thoughts on Conte's meltdown. It's a good little pivot to go to.
Yeah, go for it.
There was a time when Antonio Conte was linked with the Manchester United job. I can't remember what I said, but I probably did say, yeah, all right.
I said,
yeah, wouldn't mind him. And then obviously, I think this was before he went to Spurs. He was linked with us, wasn't he? Because he wouldn't have been linked with us after that. There was that sort of weird period when Ollie was having a stinker, Conte was available, and Ollie was given a bit more breathing space. I think he was given a couple more games, and then Spurs swept in and got Conte. Ollie lost those games.
We got Ragnick.
He got sacked. Ralph Ragnick, the rest is history. We don't need to go into that. Now, the thing with Conte, as you always sort of, I always feel anyway, and you may disagree, that He'll come in. I wouldn't say he's a manager for long term, but he'll get success. He'll have success. He'll win you trophies. And at times you might have to suck it up a little bit with some of his football. Not all the time. I think he gets a bit of a bad rap. He's always negative. He's not always negative. But you might have to suck it up a little bit, but you're going to get a trophy. I mean, you think for Spurs, if he delivers a trophy there, he'll be an absolute hero. Now, he had a rant the other day. Did you see it? After the draw at Southampton.
What was the... Go on.
The gist of it is, Youngie, you can cut in here and correct me if I'm paraphrasing this wrong, because I do that occasionally. He basically questioned the attitude of the players, whether they had that desire, because they were 3-1 up, I think, and then they drew 3-0.
They drew 3-0, yeah.
He also said, they've had the owner here for how many years, 20 years, whatever, and they've never won out or whatever. Again, sort of pointing at the whole club, basically saying that this club's just full of losers almost. Do you know what I mean? Why is that? Why don't they win things? What's going on? Yeah. It was pretty brutal. It was like Jose towards the end at United, where he's just firing shots and you think this guy's just... He's
not going to be there because his contract expires, doesn't it, in the summer?
I think so. I mean, I think the way he was carried on, I think he was like, if they want to sack me, they can sack me.
Yeah.
What do you make of that? Are you surprised at that?
Not really. Spurs is something of a poison chalice, isn't it, as a football club? I think you're always onto a hiding to go there. I think Pochettino was probably their best. I thought when they sacked Pochettino, I thought that was a strange move. I think as a Man United fan, I think it's going to play great into United's hands come the summer. Harry Kane's having a great season despite his clubs not doing so well. I think it was second highest goal scorer in the Premier League, Harry Kane.
Something like that.
Yeah. Reaching 30, and so if Conte goes, it means that Levy's got to try and convince Kane again to stay whilst another manager comes, with the promise that we can rebuild and stuff. So I think it could play well into Manchester United's hands, but I'm not surprised at all. I think Conte's a great manager, but I just think that's a really, really difficult job at Spurs, which, given all the size of the stadium and the supporters, because they bought a decent amount of players. I mean, they spent money, didn't they, in the summer?
I think, you know what? I was quite quick to praise Spurs.
Bissouma,
Richarlison, Perisic, Jed Spence, the kid, is it Romero? The centre back, I can't remember his name here. I'm getting myself in the right confused state. But they spent a lot of money. I think they spent around 150 million quid. So it's not too shabby. And yeah, Christian Romero, yeah. But you look at Romero, he's, Richarlison, Jed Spence, Bissouma, they're the big ones. Richarlison, I don't think scored a Premier League goal so far this season. Bissouma, I've not seen a lot of him, but when I've seen him, he's looked woeful. He's looked nothing like.
Well, he was one of the players that United, fans wanted instead. Before we knew Casemiro was going to be a possibility.
And I remember being a bit put off at Old Trafford, and when you remember gave the ball away for one of our goals against Brighton. And I just been thinking, is he one of those players who he might not make that step up to playing in front of a big crowd? And I don't know, maybe I was being a bit...
Some players look great in a small team.
Yeah, I remember thinking, like, he's a bit ropey at times, but everyone was... And plus, we were in that whole thing where we were just desperate for a DM. It was like, we'll just get anyone. I don't care if it's Ruben Neves.
It's like James Young.
What?
Desperate for a DM.
Nah. Don't you there, Youngie. You've got a right to reply there, son. Don't have it. Hit him back.
What?
That was funny, man. Come on.
Good, yeah, it was good, yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah, it was good. Sincere there, James. But the thing is, with all those players they bought...
Don't fucking need, but...
Yeah. How many of them are any good? How many of them are getting in the first team? How many of them are starting? Almost none of them.
They're doing better than Chelsea, though. So that with the cup that they'll lift at the end of the season.
Chelsea are literally... We were talking about this again before. And Aubameyang gone over to Barcelona because he's not even training anymore.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's just doing what he wants because they can't. They've got 42 players or something stupid, or 37.
Are United doing as well as we think?
Here we go.
Or are our competitors? Let's say City, obviously a little bit above us. Or are the competitors having that bad a season that sort of allowed us to be a bit elevated?
We had this argument when it was Ole, didn't we? People were saying.
Because the people below us were dog shit.
Yeah, when we finished second, people said, he's not a real second because everyone's been terrible. I think, whilst there's an element of some teams not doing well, like Liverpool, obviously Chelsea, haven't done well this season, I think a lot of that as well is to do with the fact you have got the sort of middle rung of teams who are playing a lot better.
Yeah.
So you see your Fulhams and your Brentfords and your Brightons, if you allow me to pluralised teams can get results against anyone and have been playing really well. You know, we've got a tough game against Brighton. I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but we're not in a Manchester Derby final already.
No.
We have got we're up against it, especially coming off the back. We'll have to play, I think, we Sevilla away, Younger.
Yeah.
And then it's the semi-final. So, you know, we're going to be knackered and they'll have 7 days worth of rest. So it's going to be tough. So, and also the fact that we've got big results in the Cups as well. We've done well in the Cups.
Yeah.
A lot of the time we've beaten teams you expected to, but we've had some good results. In the Europa, the Barcelona double-header, I thought we played well there. I thought we played well away and at home as well. I know they were obviously, in the home leg, they were missing players, but I think on the whole, I think United have done well. I think the one sort of issue we've got is we are over-reliant on certain players, and also when the team is knackered or isn't out the races for whatever reason, we have seen some horrendous results this season. You know, 4-0 against Brentford, 6-3 at City, and that result.
I mean, that could have easily gone like that the other day against Fulham.
Yeah.
Yesterday, you know what I mean? Like, they looked that sort of sluggish, like they were running through treacle.
It did look like a game. To be fair, what did you make of it, Younger? You was at the game. Are we boring you? Sorry. Sorry, we're keeping him awake there.
What's he doing?
He's yawning. Like, you know, I think you've upset him with that DM comments, and now he's doing one of those sort of yawny protests.
Is there a yawny Youngie protest?
I've been up since 7.
Up since 7?
Oh,
I thought you were going to drop something early then. I've been up since 7. I've been up since 6:30.
No, I was there. Saw the red card about 4 sort of rows in front of me because in TRA, like you normally are.
Yeah.
But you obviously decided to pack it in yesterday, like a lot of people did that normally.
Look at him having a dig at me. Like, you obviously decided to pack it in. Do you know what I mean?
No, but it was a really odd crowd.
Listen,
yesterday.
Sunshine, I was going to Manchester United games before you were born, literally.
Yeah.
I've done the hard miles. If I want to come here on a watch-along, provide a service to the good viewers of Stretford Paddock, yeah.
Were you at Wolves away 96 or whatever?
Remember that guy gave you grief because you were at a game before you were born?
Do I thought you'd remember him? Yeah, mate, he started on me.
You tell everyone what he did to you, what he said to you.
I think this has the record for the most amount of times you've told an anecdote on like different platforms. I think we're up to like 6 now.
Well, we'll get up to 7. Come on.
Right. So, Wolves away a few years back under Solskjaer, and me and David Pritt were doing a fan cam after the game back when it was, you know, normal people that did them. And this lad came over and just started giving me loads of shit and was like, where were you the last time we played Wolves away? You're only here because United have stopped like winning games and winning trophies. Basically, the point we was trying to make was that I'd only started supporting United recently to like do like Stretford Paddock and stuff to make money off the fact United weren't playing well, even though like the last time United played Wolves, like I wasn't born.
Still no excuse though. You Fancams, you're all the same.
Yeah, man.
I give up now at this point, but like the amount of people like that you know come up to me and stuff. Especially away, it's like the worst because it's obviously like United's like main hardcore sort of lot who just hate all fan channels, and like I just don't even bother.
Did he get grief still?
Not grief, but like I wouldn't say I do stuff for Paddock just because I couldn't be arsed with the that fucking Howson or McCullough or whatever, and I'm like, well,
I didn't say Jay Moira.
Like, you know.
You said, do you ever get positive vibes though? Do you ever get recognised in a positive manner?
Yeah, but it's like it's always a different crowd.
Right.
Like United's like, you know, they've got their own opinions on it. But if I was away with United for my own safety, just because of what happened in Gdansk as well, where those lads basically started on me, I just wouldn't say I do stuff for you. Just sort of look out for myself.
My experience of that is completely different.
You get positive people.
Yeah. All right.
You're more of an intimidating character than James, though.
I'm about as intimidating as a.
No, I know you're not intimidating, but
yeah.
I mean.
No, I have had people like stop me at games and stuff, but it always tends to be touch wood. Tends to be.
No, home games it's normally all right. It's the away games where I get emotional.
I mean, at Barcelona, I had a right embarrassing moment though, because me and my mate were there, and by the way, there you go. There, we were at the square, the main square. What's the square called, Younger?
The Plaza, is it Real?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got there quite early. We had brekkie and all that, because obviously I wasn't drinking, so we were up bright and breezy. We were trying to get tickets. So I did a little circuit at the square as it got busier. And some guy says, Jay, what's happening? And I thought it was my friend who I know. So I went over to him. I've not seen him for ages. And I give him a hug. And as I went like that,
realised
it's not him. And he must have thought, right, he's friendly. then I had to start out and just sort of like, how's it going anyway? Are you here? You know, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, oh my God, really sorry, I've just looked at you and I barely know you. But no, I've had...
I got someone in Co-op, Co-op in Media City the other day came over to me. But you know when you go shopping and you think, I'm just going to pop in for some crisps or maybe a cheeky meal deal, don't need a basket. Right. So I ended up needing too much. So I'm balancing all this shit. I'm trying to like the self-service machine was, playing up. Yeah. And this guy came over to me and went, I had my headphones in. I looked up and I think he was trying to give me a hand with the thing, and he went, "You all right, Scotty?" I was like, "Yeah." Huh? And then he was saying he watches this show with his dad. Yeah,
that's meant that. That's like the greatest moment of my life happened on Friday. I don't know if you heard about this.
No.
You'll hate this.
She's watching, by the way.
No.
Oh no! Wait, no.
Yeah,
actually, I actually saw. And I commented on your Instagram post.
Oh, sorry.
But you didn't
I'm big in the game now on Instagram.
I know, yeah.
Well, I got a load of followers because he put me in his story. Yeah, so I got more followers on that than I did when Eric put me in his story. But yeah, it was because I still get surprised that people like know who I am, especially when I get grounded at home and no one even knows who I am in my own house, so they don't care. So when I met the winners of Love Island and I went over because I thought, this will be funny, I'll get a picture and send it to my missus. And he was like, oh my God, Jay, what? It rattled me. It proper rattled me.
Oh, did he recognise you?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man. I couldn't watch the video. I just thought you'd gone over.
No, that was the whole crux of the video.
Right.
I went over to him. I wasn't filming at the time, so I've gone over. I've come out of here, seen Kai and Sam. You won't watch it. So Kai and Sam won Love Island, right? And he's from Manchester. I can't remember where. So I think she's from down south. Anyway, they're both walking just across the road from the office, and I'm like, oh my God, that's Kai and Sam from Love Island. So I ran over and thought, right, I'm getting a picture. I don't even care. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm not bothered. I'm going to get a picture. It'll be funny. I'll send it to my missus. She loves them both, and it'll be a joke. I've stopped him, and I'm a little bit nervous because I've never asked for a selfie, right? This is why it's people even more stick. Like, you never ask for selfies, yet you get one with Love Island. Yeah, and what? I stopped him. He's turned around. He's a big fella as well, guys. Like 6'5", and he's gone, oh my God, Jay Motti, right? Which rattled me, completely rattled me. I went berserk, and I was like, oh mate, I want to put this on camera. Like, he's like, yeah. So it was funny. But yeah, I still forget, because I was in Morrison's the other day, and the security guard was staring at me, right? Or other supermarkets are available, by the way. And he's staring at me. And I had that thing where I was like, what's he staring at? I'm paying for this.
Yeah.
Like, God, I'm not shoplifting. I'm not shoplifted for weeks. Like, what's up with him? So I was like getting a bit like, almost to the point of like, what's your issue? Yeah. And he's like, how's it going, Jay? Just want to say, like, and I thought, oh yeah, nice one, bro. And I was like, oh, you idiot. Do you know what I mean? Because I forgot.
Yeah.
Because I'm not used to it. But it's funny, like when you mentioned Howson and McCall and that, it's worse when you're out with them because they just get
all the time.
Everyone.
Do you remember fucking pre-season? It was mad.
Yes. Do you remember pre-season?
Some of it, yeah.
And if you'd like to find out about
I'm amazed you remember pre-season. I remember pre-season.
We did talk about that on one of the Patreon videos, James Young's adventures in Thailand.
No, but Australia...
He'll have to watch that video to find out what you're up to.
Yeah.
Hey.
Australia was great because, like, even Callum was getting recognised and stops and stuff. Like, it was one of the cheapest trips I've been on, especially in Melbourne, because everyone was buying me drinks. It was mint.
Oh... my missus in the chat, Miss Man United, yes, name dropping as always. Yeah, it was funny though. I think, and you were on good form, and you did well. And to be fair, it's not your fault Adam McCall decided to, as you were staggering about, fill you with more Jaeger bombs. We'll get in some of the chat before we wrap up. Miles says J Island. Brian Case says, can imagine Jay in the middle of the street. Oh my God, he knows me. It was pretty much that. That was the scenario. Danny Shields says, the light behind Scotty looking like a halo and making this look like a mank, the creation of Adam on the Sistine Chapel ceiling.
That's nice,
That's probably the nicest comment I've ever heard. Do you know what I mean? People just, whenever I sit in front of that light, say, I can see your shiny head, Jay. But no, you like a Michelangelo painting.
Oh, well, there we go. I'll take Michelangelo.
King Dino says, Conte is just a Poundland Jose. In it, indicative of the state of Spurs though, where Conte and Jose win everywhere they go, except Spurs.
There was a thing going on Instagram earlier on, and it was showing like all the managers that have before and after Spurs have gone on to won trophies, and there's like there's an amazing list of honours, and then that list of trophies that like this amount of managers have won whilst at Spurs, and it's like the League Cup. It's just It's poisoned, mate.
It is poison, isn't it? It is. It's a poison chalice. Listen, we're going to wrap up there. Big thanks to James Young for doing producer duties. Did really well tonight, Youngie. I'm proud of you.
Wait, we're not finished yet, have we?
What?
Because balls up yet.
Oh, yeah. But we had the intro, vision mixing. You stayed awake.
We don't know
and you
what the
answered some
volume was
questions.
like, though.
That's a good point. Well, we've not had any comments yet.
No, we had one nice comment, actually. If you go up.
Go on.
We had one nice comment.
And also, he's not highlighting any negative comments like he used to.
Or blocked people. Remember when he started blocking people on his
He'd block
first
people,
show?
or when someone would say really something nasty, he'd highlight it and tell us to read it out, or he'd read it out himself.
We want you to review James Young's production skills by using one word in the comments. Just one word. Keep it clean.
Oh, we are. Here we go. No, let's read this out. I've seen Youngie outside of OT flogging his United We stand. He's always too crowded or busy for me to stop and say hello. Appreciate what he does, especially when he's away games with Paddock.
Did you write that yourself?
Do you know what? That's lovely, that. Right. And I'm glad to see that we're helping you with sales. So, how are sales? Doing all right?
They're doing all right, yeah.
Good lad. Good, keep grafting.
I mean, we won't,
Clean, reasonable, talent, disappointing, obstinate.
See, you stitched him up here with this. One hot wonder. Eh?
Average.
Come on.
Oh.
James Young's a lot of things, but average
All
is not
right.
one of them. All right, there you go.
There's a lot of room to improvement here.
Hey, so that feels like we've done you appraisal.
James is also
sexy, says Ed.
Sexy. James has always asked to go on holiday next Monday, hasn't he? And we don't know whether to pay him for holiday pay.
We've had a look at. We've had a word with HR, and we can't spare you. We need.
He's still in his probation period, asking for holidays.
Yeah, you just have to cancel it, bro.
Forgettable.
Are the flights refundable? He stitched you up here. I wouldn't even do this about myself. Seriously, on any video I'm on, because the internet can be brutal. We're going to wrap up there. Listen,
no one's put Acaster yet, which is
quite
nice.
good.
It's coming.
Did you see the Acaster thing?
No. Loads of people who like I've introduced James to, I've said it. Is that
every time?
Is that the ginger mad?
See, that's a bit
That's
harsh, and that's not one word either.
Yeah.
Hey, so now it's just getting into insults. Now we're going to wrap up there because we're doing well with solid. Jonah Malo said solid.
Vegas desk broadcaster.
Wow. Hey, amazing stream as always, says King Dino.
Thank you very
Listen,
much. Right.
Thank
Make sure. Shall I do it?
Yeah, I'm just going to put
a link to the Patreon.
Yeah. Because I'm on that.
That's okay.
I'm on that.
If you're not doing already, can you please follow, subscribe, like the video? We will be doing a Patreon video. I think Jay's just dropped that into the comments there. Thank you, everybody who has been helping us support that part of the Scotty and Motty channel. We've got bigger and better things coming up soon. I'm still trying to convince Jay to do a Jay. Are you Jay?
Yeah.
Jay.
I think so.
I get you two mixed up all the time.
Wow.
Very similar.
I don't know who that's more insulting to, me or Youngie.
Anyway, I've been Scotty.
I've been Martin.
That's been Youngie.
See you in the next one.
Average James.